I think that just knowing that the work that we've done matters, and that every skill and tool that we've learned along the way in the last 4 years is going to benefit everything that we do is kind of a profound thought. I mean, just this semester, like the way that Gemma says she's proud of us after everything we do. It's so important, and I think that that's what I'll take with me when I leave, is the connections that we've made.
Welcome to Media in the Mix, the only podcast produced and hosted by the School of Communication at American University. Join us as we create a safe space to explore topics and communication at the intersection of social justice, tech, innovation, and pop culture.
Welcome back to Media in the Mix. I'm your host, Grace Ibrahim, and today we have a very special episode with almost like a panel of people. So I'm really excited to talk to you all today. Welcome Sarah, Gemma, Chris, and Angelina to the podcast, of course. So I do have to first and foremost congratulate you, Gemma, on your recent faculty award. How does that feel? Anything you want to?
It feels great. So just really quickly, I found out on Friday that I was one of the outstanding faculty members of the year. And just long story short, I know I was nominated. I've been here 22 years, and for 20 years, the students have been amazing nominating me, and for 20 years, I've lost. And so when I got the note from the provost saying that I had won, I was with a close friend just really quickly, and I kind of keeled over and said, I can't believe it, I can't believe it, I can't believe it. And a friend of mine thought, are you okay? Are you sick? I said, no, I think I won an award. And I read it, and I was just moved. And I sent the provost a note back and said, I've been here for 22 years. I know I've been nominated almost every year, and I felt like the Susan Lucci of SOC and AU. And for people who don't know who Susan Lucci is, she is a famous soap opera star. Her for many, many years was a starring actress in All My Children, and she was nominated every year, and every year she lost. And finally, one year she won, and she was on the stage. She could barely give her speech. So I said that I felt I was the Susan Lucci of the SOC, and then the provost sent me a note back and said, Lucci, no more. So anyway, I just want to share that, but I'm so grateful to the amazing students and my colleagues here. It means the world to me. Thank you for mentioning that.
We're so proud of you.
Thank you.
Now I want to talk about how this whole line of people came to be, basically, and how that connection came to be. So, Chris, I'm going to ask you first, can you give us just a little bit of an introduction to what you do and, of course, your background?
Certainly. I actually was born not too far from here in Fairfax, Virginia.
Oh, nice. Okay. Lovely.
And I went away to school to study piano, classical piano, at New England Conservatory and then the Juilliard School.
Oh, wow.
I was there for all 3 degrees, actually, finishing a doctorate
That's
there.
Awesome.
I found a position in the President's own U.S. Marine Band, part of the White House Orchestra.
Oh, that's so
In fact, they just scheduled a performance tomorrow that might interfere with an educational outreach concert we're going to hope to do.
Okay.
But anyway, that's a wonderful part of my career, but an aspiration of mine had always been to organize my own nonprofit performing arts organization.
That's awesome.
To do a number of things, to perform public concerts of classical music, to sort of be an ambassadors for classical music and share that it's for everybody.
Yes.
It can be appreciated by people who are young, by students, by people, if it's their first concert or their 1,000th. It can be exciting and meaningful. It's kind of like a human emotional expression in many ways. And to do that, so the public monthly concert series is one, and then the educational outreach is a huge component of that. Yeah. So that dream has come to fruition because of the women next to me, and because of the Gemma's stewardship over this class, and so far, Classical Arts Society of Washington started just last March and is enjoying a flourishing status in no small part due to these incredible efforts.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations, first and foremost. That's great.
Thank you.
And how did the connection come to be? So how did you all meet?
So I'm going to share the mic with you at the same time. So my colleague, actually, I want to shout out to Lenny Steinhorst because he hired me 22 years ago. So thank you, Lenny, for bringing me here. But Lenny went to your concert, one of your concerts, Chris, and we were in our division meeting, and it was like, does anybody have anything for, any new order? And Lenny goes, listen, I just came back from this amazing concert, and there was this pianist there, and they played so beautifully, and it's this new nonprofit, and they need help, and I thought it'd be a great project for a class. Does anybody want to take this on? And so, I was a former music major, so I raised my hand. I said, sounds amazing. Let's do it. But Lenny was so moved when he talked to me at length, and I told you this. He said, Gemma, I was like moved to tears after I went to this concert. And he goes, I just, I was sitting there and I was with my wife and we were listening to this music and it was just so powerful that I really wanted to do something. So I just wanted to share with you the impact that Lenny had, that you had on Lenny, that he, felt so, mesmerized and felt that, a class should take this project on and what your mission is to really educate young people of the value of classical music. Wow. So that's how it kind of all came together.
That's so fun. And I didn't know you used to be a music major. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was, and I miss it. I don't talk about it much, but I do miss those days because I think we can all agree there's like that, it gives you this creativity, and I feel like sometimes I'm missing that creativity. But no, I think it's just great that there's all that connection, right, Chris? I think
that's
wonderful. Just amazing.
I feel like music is its own way of expressing yourself, and that's why I've always loved music myself. So that's great. So let's start with kind of the work that you all are doing together.
I'm going to throw it to both Angelina and Sarah because they are the ones who are creating this magic in this class, and I'm just sitting back looking and just applauding, from the seats, from the audience. So let's start with Angelina, and then we'll go to lovely Sarah.
Yeah, just tell me a bit about kind of the work you're doing and just your experience with it and all of that.
So in the fall, I've never told you this story, Gemma, but it was the day I was applying for classes, and I walked around the corner and Gemma was coming out of the elevator, and we kind of like hit into each other without hitting into each other. Okay. And I was deciding between your class and another professor's, and you were so nice. You were like, hi, like, how are you? And you never met me before. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I have to take your class. So it was registration day. And right after that, I applied for a class because I was like, this is fate. And it has been such an amazing semester. And getting to work with Chris comes every single class. And we get to work so closely with him. And just, I feel like we've gotten so many opportunities during this class. We get to email pitch. And I just got a response back from a big organization for Chris, and I'm very excited about it. Nothing's come of it yet, so I'm not sharing.
That's exciting.
I'm very excited, and working with the team, like me and Sarah and the media team, and getting to collaborate together has been such an amazing experience, all of it.
That's wonderful. Yeah. And what are kind of like, do you have categories in the class, or?
Yeah, so we have the media team, which Sarah and I are on.
Okay.
The outreach team, which is primarily doing school outreach for Chris.
Okay.
And then we have the events team, which is working on a big fundraising event at the end of the semester. And they've done incredible work.
That's amazing.
The media team, we've helped Chris with some social media posts, which has been fun. We love Canva. We also, like Angelina said, we've been pitching different outlets, and we've been able to get into the Washington Post and ABC7's Good Morning Washington.
That's amazing.
Chris was on it, I think, what was it, February?
Oh, that's so cool.
And it was so much fun.
That's
Angelina and another girl in our group, Gabby, we all went with Chris, and we were there before, so we were his PR people helping him get ready for the...
I want to ask you both, is there anything that surprised you kind of in a positive way, something that you're going to take with you? And then on the other side of that, have you run into any challenges that you feel like are going to stick with you? Obviously, are you graduating as well, Angelina? Okay, so you guys are kind of on the cusp of going into the real world, as we say. But this is very much real world experience.
No,
so
definitely.
What can you tell me about kind of what you've learned?
I think what surprised me was that, well, obviously Gemma is very, very involved. we like are kind of operating at our own speed. Like we've worked very collaboratively with Chris, like making sure like the pitches are in the right tone and like the way that he wants to like represent the organization. But like from there on, like we find the journalists and we like pitch them. But like going off of that, like a challenge that I've found is like getting the journalists to answer. Like the Washington Post journalist, the only reason she answered, I think, was because she's an AU alum.
Okay.
Which was great.
That's good.
But like reaching out to other journalists, like it's hard to get their attention, which like makes sense, but it's definitely been challenging.
Yeah.
I feel like going off of the pitch piece of it, like not getting deterred has been a big thing. And I think throughout the semester, Gemma has been a really amazing guide in that, because she's there, but she also allows us to just try and fail and like just go down the path ourselves and try a lot of different outlets and use our connections that we've had. Me and Sarah are both seniors, so the network that we've created, trying to find a way to utilize that for something real has been really exciting, and doing that for the first time. So, yeah.
That's really, really cool.
I'm just really proud of them because they're actually, this is real work.
Yes.
You know, and it's, and Sarah, thank you for sharing the challenges of media. I mean, this is what real life is, you know, that you want to get your client media. I mean, that was what I did in my profession, was the media relations director, VP, and everybody wants great media, right? Because people know who you are, they understand your mission, and I'm really proud of them because that is like impossible to get. And so for young students to have that experience, and for I just see the joy. Like I said, so what do you have for me when we go around the room? And they're like, oh, we got this and that. I'm just like so proud of them, honestly, because I know how hard that was because I worked there. And for you to get that for Chris, who really is such an extraordinary client. And Chris, the fact that you come to our class every week says so much. I've never seen that. I've been here 20 years and we have great clients that come and they've all been great. Chris just cares. You know, he comes in, he works with them. And I just didn't know if you knew that meant a lot to us, that you come into every class. So,
I mean, to me, it seems like a no-brainer. We're so new, and so the help is invaluable.
That's awesome.
So I feel that the results are going to be hopefully expanded upon the more I can be involved. And so that's what I tried to do. But I mean, it goes so far beyond what you've even mentioned. I mean, just to be very, very honest, the fundraiser we had talked about a few weeks ago, I was like, well, what if it doesn't work? You know, the musician's critical nature is there. Yeah. I'm like, well, if it doesn't and it loses money, then the sponsors wouldn't be happy. And it's kind of, you know, only 7 weeks until it starts, and we could just do a digital one. And the class sort of assured me, look, it's a good idea to have the fundraiser. Here are the 50 reasons why it cannot really be negative.
Yeah.
Like, it will work, here why, and then here is the probability of it being incredibly positive.
Yes.
And so it was not only the class helping to facilitate the fundraiser, but almost being like this spiritual guide towards having it in a way that I'm so grateful to both of you and your 16 compatriots for. It also, as far as media, I mean, they're downplaying it so much. I mean, they getting a spot on a DC television station is pretty huge. Washington Post is a big deal, and they were successful in getting a couple of really helpful Instagram influencers that totally changed how we are in social media, like overnight. Amazing. And there are 2 more coming to our next concert on April 11th. And because of that, I mean, the shows are consistently sold out now. We're going to move to having 2 per month, hopefully next year. It's just, I mean, it's all
awesome.
And scheduling school concerts. So we have one tomorrow. Yeah. We'll have one more this month, and hopefully a third if the rescheduling goes well. Yeah. And there's just sort of the sky is the limit, whereas before the limit was very apparent. And so I'm just so grateful to both of you individually and to you all collectively for just making this transformative change, not only in this organization, but in how classical music can be perceived, hopefully for years to come.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it sounds like a lot of PR is kind of getting to know your client, right? So the fact that Chris has kind of been in every week, what have you learned about that? Just kind of that like connection, and is that important in PR? I'm kind of asking just in terms of like what people should know about PR.
I feel like the network that you create and the conversations you have are at the center of PR. And I've learned from this class, and it's influenced me in every other class I'm taking this semester and hopefully where I go. The team that you have, it has to be a strong team. You have to connect with those people. And sometimes it's difficult and there's different relationships you have to navigate. But at the end of the day, like, those are the people who are going to support you. They're going to push you. And I found that so much in this class, and being able to just lean on each other and be like, I have this idea, but I don't really know where it's going to go. Can you look at it? Can you read it? And just that central piece has been so important for me. And I think that's at the center of PR, is connection and communication, and
I love
getting strong at that core piece.
Our team, I think, is the smallest team in the class. There's 5 of us. But, like, it's great that Chris is there every class because, like, we've all gotten to know Chris and, like, been more comfortable. Whereas I feel like if he wasn't in class every class, I would feel a little bit more nervous being completely honest with Chris, which is great. So, like, when he's there, if, like, I'm unsure about something, or even, like, if, I don't know, like, I feel like we need to push Chris to, like, post something to the Instagram, I feel like I can say, like, and be totally honest, and, like, Chris won't take it like I'm being, like, rude or anything. It's great to have that relationship where I'm, like, we're working together. I'm not, like, reporting to him, but, like, we're working collaboratively on this.
I love that. A lot of collaboration. I want to hear a little more about kind of the pitches that you had to do and all of that and what you learned there, because that is kind of a scary process. And, of course, you know, you do have to pitch it in kind of knowing your client's voice and knowing what the end goal is and all that. So if anything, you can kind of just shed light on that.
Well, I mean, I'm sure Angelina has gone through the same thing, but, like, all of our PR classes has been, like, writing pitches. Like, I've had, like, to write a pitch in every single, like, almost every single PR class I've been in. So, like, to actually write one and be like, wow, this is, like, actually going to go somewhere was really exciting. We try to aim it towards the type of journalist that we're pitching. So, like, we've, like, pitched education journalists, but also, like, music journalists and, like, even some health journalists. So, like, just kind of changing the tone and, like, the way we're, like, pitching the story has been very challenging but fun.
I also think in the pitching experience, like, finding a central theme has been really exciting. And like Sarah said, we've been taking classes. I mean, we're seniors for 4 years, and actually getting to apply those skills to a real world client and something that's going to go somewhere. I mean, it's so exciting. And finding, like, the best way to pitch someone is also, like, a central piece of it. So for education, like, who is their school? Like, the demographic there, how can I approach this conversation? I've been working on national outlets for this semester and getting to focus on, like, Music in Our Schools Month and how Chris can have a conversation about that to a journalist. All of those different opportunities, I think, were really interesting to get to implement those ideas into a pitch. And how do I do that? And how do I get someone to grab onto these ideas and say, oh, that's great, let me run with it, let me put that in.
It's truly real world experience, which kind of leads me to my next question of Gemma. Can you just shed light on the importance of that? You know, the importance of them getting this experience before they graduate and go into that.
When I first started this class, I remember coming here and asking, like, how do you teach this class? Because I really didn't know. And people were saying, oh, well, this class is taking everything that students have learned and they're just going to keep doing it. Like, you know, do press releases, do media alerts, you know, write opinion pieces. And I thought, well, you know what, maybe I should take it one step further. And, you know, I worked in news for years and then I worked in the PR sector. And I thought, wouldn't it be great to actually work with, like, clients and all that? And so that's really how it happened. It started of, you know, let's give students the real deal and have them understand. You know, they come in, they meet even before they meet the client. I usually select the clients during the summer for the year, and I look at, you know, and you're so special because I do look at the client, I look at their mission, and we do deal with a lot of nonprofits, but it's also looking at the individual. because I want students to have a really good experience. So I want to make sure that the person's going to be great to work with and they're open. And so, Chris is like the ideal client as well. And so, it would happen and it just evolved that we started working with nonprofits and students, like they both said, they'll write press releases, media alerts, but then they're pitching the media, they're learning about social media. And I think, seeing the result and actually looking at them, and for our final presentation, that's like the aha moment. I mean, Angelina and Sarah have eloquently stated, their takeaways, but I'm so excited for the final presentation because that's when everything comes together and they show Chris everything they've done. And I see the look in the students, how hard they worked, and it just all comes together. And it's the sense of, I did this, and so it prepares them for life. And, we try to give students a great education here and give them the real world experience because we know it's not easy in the real world, and it's, to me, this class is also a confidence booster. And to let them know that, they, we want to empower you. You can do this, be your own person, work on a great team, bring all your talents together. It's really, for me, letting them leave that room with the skills, but the confidence of giving back to the world and letting them know they're valued and they're going to make such an extraordinary difference in the world. So there's just so many elements to it, but I'm really, really proud of them.
That's awesome. We're proud of you all too. That sounds amazing. And then just kind of pivoting back to the experience as a student, how do you feel like the last 4 years at SOC kind of prepared you for all of this?
Well, I feel like I've had my classes and like obviously writing like the pitches and like different like media alerts, and like I know the structure, which I obviously like would never have known how to do if I hadn't done it in class. But also like I work in this office. So like I feel like I've definitely like improved my writing here at least, and then also like working with a team collaboratively towards a goal like is similar to the way that like we work together in class, and like I don't know, talking with each other and communicating.
That's awesome.
I feel like I've done a lot of random things here on campus that have just helped me in like little ways.
It all comes full circle, I guess.
It all comes together. Yes,
absolutely.
I also feel like in our classes, like nothing has been approached as like theoretical. Like we've been thrown into it as this is something that you could actually use for a client in your real career. I also think a huge piece is PR writing and PR case studies, which are core classes for our major. And for PR writing, like I use it everywhere in everything I do. I come back to those foundational tools. And PR case studies, I feel like especially while I was working with a client, like in that class, I got to pull apart different PR cases and really understand how it was built and how things went wrong, so that now when we're working with a client, we can see like the whole picture of it and best way to approach different situations. So I think so many pieces of our education have now, like, will go into everything that we do.
That's awesome.
I also just wanted to add, I took event planning with Jillian, who is in the events group. And that class was really great because I know that she's planning her group is planning the fundraiser for Chris at I forget when it is. May 1st, on May 1st. But like everything that they're doing is stuff that we like did in class. Because like in that class, like you get a venue, you have to figure out like the pricing. We had to like actually call real venues and like ask them their pricing and pretend to be like real PR people trying to book a place and like call a real catering place, like flowers, like all the decorations and stuff. So like while this is like we're really doing it, like they're really in contact with these people, like in that class, like you are actually talking to those people. You're not actually planning a real event, but you are talking to them, so you know the questions to ask.
In that class, we went to the National Cathedral, and we were able, like, just having DC as the backdrop to your education has been incredible. Because like going there, seeing that space, and then getting to talk to the person who runs all the events, specifically for like event planning. I'd never had a conversation like that with someone, And I don't know, getting exposed to different things like that because we're in DC has also been such a transformative piece of my education.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that. We hear that a lot. And, I'm an AU alum as well, so I felt the same way about DC. It just kind of like opens up almost your creativity in a way because you have access to so many things that you didn't think you would. So you're like, oh, yeah, cathedral. Yeah, why not? It's right down the road. That's awesome. And Chris, I'm going to throw it to you, actually. Is there anything you've learned from these wonderful students going through this experience with them?
Absolutely. I think having a way to distill all of the nebulous ideas, artists can sometimes be a little less focused in some ways than the rest of us. To have it distilled into a concrete list of tasks, to have this sort of hierarchy of planning and strategy on one sense, and then social media, and to know how they all integrate into one another, how the mission is expressed through the various sort of tenets of the organization, and how that's communicated through branding, social media. To have, for me, in a weird way, I'm probably learning more than any of the students already are in there.
That's great.
And so I think that symbiotic relationship works in so many ways, that we're both teaching one another and learning from one another in so many different aspects.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's so many layers to it.
Yeah, that's great. And Gemma, I guess to you as well, in a sense, do you feel like every time you have a new group of students, do you feel like you learn something new? Or
I do. I learn their resilience.
That's great.
And I learn it from the clients too, because the clients will later send notes or just say, this meant a great deal. And I also share this with students. You teach me as well because, I'm able to present your work at conferences. I've used your work for chapters and books to talk about case studies because as professors all over the country, all over the world, we like to share, highlights and what we teach our students. So I have great takeaways too. And then of course I follow them. I try not to, I always try to follow their careers and wish them the best. And if I see that, they're announcing on LinkedIn they got a new job, I always respond, so proud of you, because I do want to see their success after they leave here because you're rooting for them and you know how hard they worked and you know that they are going to make, it's not a cliche, but they're going to make the world better and they're going to add so much to the field. And so, I'm just really proud of them.
That's awesome. That's great. And then to our two students who are about to graduate, any life lessons you're going to take with you?
My gosh. I mean, I feel like within the group that I've been working with, but also the whole class, the best way that we all work is when we at the beginning of class, Gemma is what's everyone's updates? And we all listen to each other and that actually it's obvious that it would help, but I've never been in a situation where that's what's going on. So I feel just keeping updated on everyone's individual, what is everyone doing has helped our group so much because it's
awesome.
Oh, should we how should we go about this? When they're oh, this group is already doing this, so maybe we should talk to them about it. So it's been really helpful to
awesome.
Listen to what everybody's doing, not just what's relevant to you.
Yeah.
You
kind of learn how everyone works different too.
Yeah.
And that's a very real thing. And in the workforce. Yeah, absolutely.
I feel especially in this class, I've learned how important listening is and being able to hear everybody's point of view, kind of going off what Sarah said. We have these moments in the beginning of class where we hear from each group and just connecting those pieces to each other is so beneficial and it influences the work that we do.
Yeah.
So being able to hear everybody's perspective is huge, I think, especially in PR and getting to understand all of it and have it impact the work that you do.
Yeah.
So listening and then collaborating and working together, I think, are the biggest takeaways from
awesome.
the program and from this class. Yeah.
That's great. Chris, anything you're excited about moving forward? Are you just, obviously with all this new, the things the students have been able to do,
Well, again, the students have helped so far beyond the nuts and bolts, the practicalities we've already mentioned. And this idea of they themselves have this youthful inspiration, this sort of energy that I have inside me too.
Yeah.
But I think, the 15 years or so older than they are that I am, the world is hard and there are challenges, and that can, in the worst case scenario, make people jaded and kind of bitter. 100%. I'm not there, but I don't quite have the youthful kind of incredible levels of optimism I had when I was in my early 20s.
Yeah.
And now I have much more of that. And so I think, and it's merited. It's not arbitrary or delusional at all. It's like there's so many reasons to believe that this organization will go incredibly far.
That's
and
awesome.
So that kind of assurance and that encouragement from all of you has been
amazing.
So meaningful. And then the results of that on the greater community of DC could be profound over the next 5 to 10 years. So I hope to report back every couple of years and have you all visit Classical Arts Society of Washington in 5 years, and everyone here will already know what it is, hopefully.
Yeah,
and it's
1,000%.
Very helpful. So
1,000%.
thank you so much for just that confidence and that inspiration. It's really, really helpful.
That's such a real thing too. If the more time you spend in, the workforce and the real world, life does get tough, and it really, brings you down sometimes. So I feel the same way. I'm sure we can all agree, working with our student workers, I know Sarah works in this office, and they really do bring that youthfulness back and the creativity, and just kind of opens your mind to things that you forgot about, which has been really, really cool. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and we all need to find things that we're passionate about, that we really care about, that can make a huge difference for those around us. But it's really sad when some of us have that thing, but lack the confidence or the resources or the belief in ourselves to actualize it.
Right.
And so that's, for that reason, I'm so especially grateful to everyone here.
That's amazing. We can't wait to see where it goes. That's awesome. And then anything you all want to add? Just closing thoughts?
It's been so much fun working with Chris, but also working with the class. And I think that being in SOC has been so helpful, with the work that we've been doing. Even Chris was looking for a videographer, and I contacted Professor Engel because he can put the job on listserv.
Yeah.
And then Chris got a videographer from that.
That's awesome.
So it's there's so many people want to help
Yes.
here. You just have to ask can you help me, or let them know what you're interested in. Even I was talking to Lindsay earlier about trying to find a job, and she reached out to an alumni to connect me with.
That's
so
awesome.
it's really everyone's so helpful. You just you gotta ask for help. So.
I feel collaboration in media is so important, just in any aspect. Like you said, whether it's the start, whether it's the finish, whether it's 5 years down the line and you're still networking and you're still connecting. It's great.
I think that just knowing that the work that we've done matters, and that every skill and tool that we've learned along the way in the last 4 years is going to benefit everything that we do from here out is kind of a profound thought, and very the world's a little daunting. So to know that we have such a good foundation and we have such great people around us, just this semester, the way that Gemma says she's proud of us after everything we do, it's so important. And I think that that's what I'll take with me when I leave, is the connections that we've made.
I do remember those moments when they said that they were very proud, or they watched a video and said, I'd love to see this as a movie. Those are the thoughts that I still remember till this day. It's been over a decade. So that's just so awesome to hear. And Gemma, any closing thoughts?
Godspeed, and thank you.
That's awesome.
Godspeed.
I know you all are going to do great. Chris, good luck with everything, and thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Angelina. Thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Gemma. Thank you for joining us on Media in the Mix. If you'd like to donate to SOC, go to giving.american.edu, and we'll see you next time. And that's a wrap.